Well, it's Thursday, and you all know what that means. As you probably know, Ring of Honor were only 1 week away from, of course, Supercard of Honor. So we're going to see some interesting, fun matches. We do have, of course, a proving ground match, some various talent we're going to be seeing on this one as we head to Supercard of Honor. Then we move on with TNA, of course, featuring, of course, many matches. Amongst them, of course, is a no DQ match between Eric Young and EC3. We even have, of course, the System taking on Leon Slater and, of course, Moose. Then, of course, we have the TNA Knockouts World title on the line. Li Yingling finally gets an opportunity to get her belt back after losing to Ariana Grace after deceiving her father Santino. So we'll see how things will progress from there. And then, as always, we'll wrap up our episode, as usual, with some news updates to give you guys updates on what's been happening in the world of wrestling, such as what events the promotions are thrown out, who's booked, what matches are set, including developments that are happening in the world of wrestling as we speak. So, let's get ready for another episode of the Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Hey everyone, welcome to the Deleted Wrestle Zone, all things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, TNA, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, J-Rod here. So, if you are new to the channel, welcome. This is a channel where we do a lot of pro wrestling reviews from various promotions, not only here in the United States, but also in Japan, Mexico, Canada, Europe, the UK. Anywhere pro wrestling is not as big, but it continues to grow. We also, of course, do discussion videos, talk about various topics such as the wrestlers themselves, the promotions, factions, storylines, whatever we want to talk about. We also, of course, do more news updates. If certain information is unable to be on this episode, we can either put it on the next one or on a separate video by itself. We also, of course, do some real-time news updates to keep you guys on alert if something has happened in the world of wrestling that needs to be addressed ASAP. We also, of course, got through Nike Sayaka Watch and various other cool wrestling content as well. So if you like what you see, please subscribe to us and click on that subscribe button. You'll be getting a lot of daily reviews and other cool wrestling content as well. But if you like this episode, please give us a like on the like button or a nice comment in the description down below. Now, enough with the jibber jabbers, let's get to it. So let's begin with Ring of Honor. Ring of Honor. We open up with the Infantry, Sean Dean and Carly Bravo, along with Shane Taylor on their corner. They take on Ortiz and Eddie Kingston, so you can guess this match was going to be, of course, all about kicking butt, of course. But, of course, this match ended with Ortiz picking up the win with the ghetto clutch onto the captain, Sean Dean, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. But however, of course, nobody likes a sore loser, so basically the Infantry did not like to lose, so they decided to attack both Ortiz and Kingston. But thank God for good old Manser showing up and giving them a helping hand. If you guys hadn't forgotten, Manser dealt with, of course, Shane Taylor recently. So now it seems that Ortiz and Eddie Kingston may have an ally. So we'll see how things will go for those three. Now our next match, it's a Pure Wrestling Rules match. We have Josh Woods taking on Beef. Yep. I don't know how much Beef knows about the Pure Rules, but he did a pretty good job. He only had one rope break until, of course, Josh Woods put him in a submission, and of course, he tapped out, and it was completely over. Now, ahead of her Supercard of Honor match, Deonna Purrazzo had a message for Diamante, as you know, who is one of Athena's minions. As you probably can guess, Athena has been aiming for the ROH Women's Pure title because she feels that it's now desecrated by Deonna Purrazzo because she felt that no one should be allowed to have that belt unless they're part of her organization, the Minions. And of course, Deonna mentioned that just because you use the Fujiwara armor doesn't make you a pure wrestling a pure wrestler, which is true. I mean, we have seen Deonna for years. She has developed her wrestling craft on pure rules, and we know she can pull it off easily, amazingly. So we'll see what happens at Supercard of Honor. Now, our next match, we have the Workhorsemen taking on the Bang Bang Gang, Ace Austin and Juice Robinson. Now, of course, the Workhorsemen, there's no doubt that they are a blue-collar group. They basically love to fight. Well, the Bang Bang Gang, they're almost similar as them. You have Ace Austin, who is very athletic, what he does with his junior heavyweight / cruiserweight, however you want to call it. And Juice Robinson, well, he hits hard with his left hand. And of course, this match ended with Juice applying the Juices Loose onto, of course, JD Drake. 1, 2, 3, done. Now, Zeta Steel, of course, as you all know, she'll be involved in the match due to a situation. Persephone was, of course, out of action due to an injury. So it's decided that Zeta Steel and High End will be facing off each other for that open spot. So we'll see how things will go. But both ladies had things to say regarding about this match. So we'll see how that plays out too. Now, our next match, Action Andretti versus Nathan Cruz. Now, things were normal from the very beginning until Lio Rush showed up. Now, he didn't show up like that creepy dude that you've been looking at like, nope, he just showed up, all normal. And in Action Andretti's like, what the hell, And that was the thing. However, it did not, how to say, cause any problems for Action Andretti. He was able to pick up the win, by applying a neck breaker onto Nathan Cruz, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, over. However, later on, we did see an interview with Lex Lanier, who wanted answers about what's going on between Action Andretti and Lio Rush. Now, Lio Rush, we haven't heard anything from him what is going on. Now, Action Andretti did stated that, as much as they want answers, he can't give any because he doesn't know either. It's more like, look, I know you want answers about what's going on with Lio Rush. I want to, but I can't give you that answers because I don't know what's going on here. And that's true. I mean, look, if Action Andretti doesn't know what's going on, that means there is still more that we are not seeing. Whatever was going on between him and Lio Rush, it kind of went down the drain, but we'll see. Now, our next match, we have the Bust in the Brain, Jordan Oliver and Alec Price taking on the Frat House, consistent of Griff Garrison and Cole Carter. Now, obviously, we would have assumed that this match would have fallen in favor of the Frat House due to the interference from, of course, Jack Jameson and Preston Vance, but it did not do any good for them because it was Buster in the Brain that walked out thanks to a move called the Price driver onto Cole Carter, and it was picked up by pinfall by Jordan Oliver, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, Buster and the Brain picked up the win. But it seems now they're calling out for a shot of the ROH World Tag Team belt, so we'll see what happens. We know Sammy Guevara and Beast Mortals are still champions, but we haven't seen them for quite some time. We know Sammy recently, behind the scenes, has been traveling recently to Brazil, where his wife is originally from. I don't know about Beast Mortos. I'm sure he's busy as an attorney, so we'll see how that plays out too. Now, about a while ago, we did see a great combination of the Colognes, Eddie and Orlando, teaming up with the Spanish Announce Project, Angelico and Serpentico. So we decided, let's watch it again, see how this broke. But this time they're facing Alexander Lev, Hunter James, these guys call better together, known as Corey Gold and Peter, I don't know, Peter something anyway. But the match was pretty good. I have to say the Colognes and Spanish Now Project really got well. I mean, they should form a group together. We did see a double pinfall by the Colognes onto Hunter James, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. Now, our next match, we have Main Man Oro, teaming up with Kyrian Gray. They take on the Premier Athletes, Tony Nese and Arya Davari once again with that idiot Smart Mark Sterling and Story Denali being on their corners. Well, this match ended with Nice pinning Gray, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, done. Now, we did see, of course, the proving ground match for the ROH Women's World Television title. Red Velvet faces against Rachel Ellering. The match was pretty good. I have to say it was all right. But it was Red Velvet with a kick that took her out. 1, 2, 3, done. Our next match, we have Adam Priest and Tommy Billington, of course, taking on the Grizzled Young Vets. Now, we know the Grizzled Young Vets had dealt with these guys before in the past, but now they're taking things matters in their own hands. But out of nowhere, somehow Priest and Billington were able to overcome it, thanks to Priest pinning James Drake, but he also used the tights to ensure they picked up the win. That way, it's like a saying, you get a taste of your own medicine for what you did. And just like that, it was over. Now, our next match, we have, of course, MXMTV taking on the Rascals. And I thought it was a pretty good and fun match. I mean, we saw some great spots. Uh, and, of course, we did see a bit of a friendly fire by MXMTV. And then, of course, we did see a spiral tap by Desmond Xavier onto Mansoor. And just like that, 1, 2, 3, done. So that's how things rolled up in Ring of Honor. I can't wait to see what happens next week as we hit Supercard of Honor. So stay tuned for more. But right now, we'll end things here and move on with, of course, our last review, TNA. Alright, TNA. We opened up with the no disqualification match between Eric Young and EC3. Now, for those who have not been following, you probably ask yourselves, how do we lead to this match to become a no disqualification? Now, if we date back to prior before Rebellion, there's been rumors and speculation of EC3, who is a former world champion in TNA back then, known as Impact, was on his way back. However, Eric Young, as you know, has becoming himself as the gatekeeper of TNA, began calling EC3 as a Nepo baby, basically questioning his motives being back in TNA. Now, in Rebellion, they were supposed to have a match. It went crazy, so it led to that. But I have to say, Eric Young put up a hell of a big fight. So did EC3. But however, Eric Young was determined to dismantle EC3 to prove his point that why he is the gatekeeper and why he needs to cleanse TNA one way or the other. And he did that while applying multiple power drivers on EC3. But the final blow was when he put him through a chair while applying the power driver. And just like that, 1, 2, 3, done. Now, we did see an interview with Gia Miller talking to Ariana Grace. As you know, Ariana Grace will be defending the TNA Knockouts World title. Well, Ariana was not happy with the whole thing due to the fact that her father, of course, the director of Authority, decided to, make this match official. But Stats seems that he has a plan. I don't know exactly what the plan was, but it kind of was creepy. Now, as the system, as you know, they're right now better than ever without the Moose and, of course, what's his name? Forgot his name. But anyway, as you know, they obtained the TNA World Tag Team belts. They couldn't obtain the TNA World title, but however, Cedric Alexander once again is aiming for the TNA X Division title, so we'll see how that rolls up too. But they have to deal with, of course, with their respective matches. Myers and Bear Bronson have to deal with Menet and Casey Navarro for their tag belts, while the other members have to deal with Moose and Leon Slater, so we'll get to that. Now, Elena Black, as you know, making her way into the ring. Apparently, as you know, she is still aiming for the Knockouts World title, which is something that she's been aiming for. But Ash by Elegance, as you know, she's not going to take this kindly from someone like her claiming, no, you don't get to decide to get that belt. But however, another person, of course, appeared out of nowhere, and that is Indy Hartwell, because she is calling Ash by Elegance a faker. Not because of her wrestling ability, it's about her, her body, her face, her you know what, everything else. But she took matters in her own hands. But of course, Indy Harwood will pay attention to the TNA Knockouts World Title match. Now, Daria was on the phone talking to someone. Apparently, it was revealed that someone canceled Santino Morella's flight. Now, I don't know who that was, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was Stacked. And of course, this led to a smile to Daria Ray's face because, as you know, Daria doesn't like how Santino runs things. You know, because she thinks that the wrestlers do not make the matches, it's them. But no, Santana had other things to say about that. Now, let's jump into TNA World Tag Team Belts. Casey Navarro and Nick Bennett. This became a very interesting partnership due to the fact that Casey Navarro helped Nick Bennett to deal with AJ Francis, and of course, Nick Bennett returned the favor. And of course, this is what led to this system. So, of course, this match would have won if it wasn't for Alicia Edwards getting involved. But unfortunately, Bear Bronson took out Casey Navarro with the bear down. 1, 2, 3, done. So the system retained the tag team belts. Now, speaking of that, of course, they called out Moose and Leon Slater to deal with this because, as you know, Leon Slater will be dealing with Cedric Alexander once again for the X Division title. As you know, Leon Slater's goal and ambition is to become not only the youngest TNA X Division champion, but also the longest reigning champion. So that says it all right there. But of course, we were going to see some outside interference, but luckily, Moose was able to overcome it thanks to pinning Eddie Edwards with the jackknife. 1, 2, 3, done. So, Moose. Now, as you know, the Hardys, well, it seems that the Righteous may got what they wanted. We did see broken Matt Hardy appeared a week ago, and now we most likely see Brother Nero also make his appearance too. So we'll see where that goes. Now, Mike Santana, as you know, gave a lot of props to Rich Swann with a hell of a match they brought in, and he felt, you know, this is the kind of match that he wanted. And of course, he wants to call out his next opponent, but the buzzkill showed up, and I'm talking about Daria Ray being, you know, the little bitch that she is, trying to act like she thinks she has the higher authority. And she said that next week there's going to be a rumble, you know. But Santana doesn't like what's going on because he knows that she's causing a lot of problems with, of course, with TNA. But he said the results will be the same because whoever is the next one is going to get a foot up there, you know what. So I can't wait to see that. Now, we did see a bit of a video promo from both AJ Francis and Casey Navarro. Now, AJ Francis, as you know, let's just say he still has some unfinished business with Casey Navarro after what happened when his return. But however, Casey Navarro, as you know, let's just say that he hasn't forgotten how things turned out for him. It was like saying, you were the one who brought me into this, and then you discarded me like trash. So he's starting to see exactly what Rich Swann saw. Basically, it was more like, it's about you, Francis, never about us. So he will deal with him soon enough. Now, our main event, of course, is the TNA Knockouts World title. Li Yingling, former Knockouts World Champion, takes on, of course, Ariana Grace. Now, of course, when it comes to Ariana Grace, we know that her fiance will be right there. Stacks and get involved. Multiple times he did everything. However, like the old saying goes, his hand got caught in the cookie jar, and the ref kind of dejected him. But thank God for Li Yingling for taking him out. But that gave, of course, for Li Yingling to apply a neck breaker, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, she finally regained the belt. She is now a 2-time TNA Knockouts World Champion. So we'll see what the Sharks will be like. We know there are those who've been paying attention to this match, and they will be staking their claim to take a crack at her. However, the show didn't end there. In the back, we did see Moose seems like he was lying down on the ground, most likely been attacked. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if it was the system, because we know that the system has to deal with Moose from then on. So we'll just wait and see what happens until then. But for now, we are now done with TNA. Let's wrap up our episode with some news updates. Okay, so welcome to our news update. So let's begin with upcoming events, starting with GCW. As you know, we got the Guilty Conscience on the 15th of May in Detroit. They just announced one called Manders will take on Gary J. And then the following day in St. Louis for the Gateway to the Death on the 16th of May, we have Vipress versus Jimmy F. and Lloyd. And then the following day after that, on the 17th of May, making their debut in Du Bois, Iowa for Ring of Field on the 17th of May, they announced, what was it again? Oh yeah, Slade versus Otis Cogar. So that's going to be very interesting to see. So that's going to be fun. Now, we do have the produced by Orange Crush having two events that have been announced, one in June, one in July. Now, as we got the June for Volume 1, the Octopus, that will be on the 29th of June. They announced that Effie and Mance Warner, one time known as the Wrecking Crew or something like that, or whatever they called themselves back then, will be teaming up, and they will have Steph the Landers by their sides taking on Beast Dog, who they'll have Allie Catch by her corner. So that's going to be fun. And then the following month for their Tiger Style event on the 16th of July, they announced that Mance Warner will take on Mad Dog Connolly. So that's going to be fun. And then finally, as you know already, the Kitsune Women's Wrestling will have their first event in quite a while on the 26th of July. They announced Zara Zakar, who is in fact a local wrestler here in San Diego, will take on, of course, Ami Sakura, which I think is going to be really fun to enjoy. I wish I can go and check it out, but won't be able to. Now, we want to give congratulations to Gisel Shaw. As you all know, she just won the NWA Women's World Television title. That makes her the first ever transgender wrestler to obtain this belt. So, good job. Now, many of you remember Raja Jackson, who is the son of Rampage Jackson. Now, many of you may remember this story. Last year, Raja Jackson was in results of a brutal beatdown during a wrestling match against Sicko Stu. And because of this led to his arrest. Many promotions don't want to hire him. And not to mention, Rampage Jackson himself, of course, disowned his own son for what he did. And I don't blame him for it. Now, recently, it's been reported that he has been found, that he pleaded guilty for what happened to Sicko Stu. He'll be in jail for 90 days. He'll be will be giving restitution and probation. Now, I don't know if this is the right choice for what he did. I'm sure the family of Sicko Stu would want more punishment after that. I don't blame them for feeling that. But what do you guys think? I mean, I gotta ask. You think this was... he could have gotten a much longer sentence or whatever? I don't know. But I'm glad that something is coming out of it. Now, let's move on. As you all know, Pro Wrestling No will have the annual round robin tag team tournament known as the Global Tag League. They just announced the participants of this event on 2 different blocks, and this is who they have. For Block A, we have, of course, Los Tranquilos de Japón, Tetsuya Naito and Bushi. We have Kyoto Kiyomiya teaming with Arutoki, Tetsuya Eno and Hayata, the Good Brothers, Doc Gallows and Carl Anderson, Lyco's Gym, consisting of Kid Lycos 1 and Kid Lycos 2. Then we have, of course, from Team 200X, Masakita Miya and Takashi Sugiura. That's for the A block. Now, for the B block, this is who we have. We have Keno. He'll team up with Naomichi Marufuji, which is going to be fun. We have Yoshiki Inamura will be teaming up with Stallion Rogers. Kasuyuki Fujita will be teaming up with Mohamed Yone. Kenta will be teaming up with Katsumi Inahara. Manabu Soya will be teaming up with Yuki Ito. And then finally, Ozawa will team up with Tadasuke. So that's pretty much what's happening on that level. Now, Catalina just revealed that she, now as you all know, she's in AAA. Guess who her boss is now in AAA? Well, rest in peace. Yes, Undertaker is her boss. And she just told Denise Salcido this. he's scary, seriously, for me. When I was in front of the Undertaker, he started talking like he's so tall, and I'm like, okay, what do I need to do? Whatever you want, Undertaker. I'll. It's a dream because I never thought that the Undertaker was going to be my boss in the future. I mean, I'm sure many wrestlers who grew up watching the Undertaker, if they ever work with him in this kind of level, you probably would be like, I can't believe he's my boss. So it would make absolute sense. Now, many of you may know this. Some interesting factors have been mentioned about Progress Wrestling champions being in WWE. Uh, with the exception of one who is currently now in AEW, of course. This is who they had. Rayo Americano, which is portrayed by Pete Dunne. Big Van Walter, which is Gunther. Will Cross, known as Mason Rook, who is the guy who attacked Tony D'Angelo twice. Timeless Tony Storm, yes, she was wrestling in Progress, in case anybody asked. Jordan Grace, and Lizzie Rain. So it makes absolute sense that Progress Wrestling did produce some of the best wrestlers there too. Can't believe that some of them are the majority of them are already here, But yeah, excellent news for our final development here for everyone. Dash Chisako has announced that, as you probably may be surprised, she's pregnant. Yeah, she just announced recently that she is pregnant. So this was discussed, between Chisako and between the promotion and themselves. So that kind of thing. The event that she was scheduled for July on 20th will be, on the 20th. I don't know exactly what's going to happen there. I mean, I'm sure she has to not get involved because she's pregnant. Yeah. So I'm have to say congratulations, girl, on that. So I love watching her matches. I mean, she is the kind of wrestler who's like, I'm not here to BS, but she gets the job done. So I'm happy for her. Let's see how things roll out from there. So as of right now, let's call it a day. Well, I hope everybody enjoys this episode. Coming up, well, I haven't decided yet since it's on a Friday. We do know that certain things will happen this weekend in the world of pro wrestling, but I'm considering catching up with much of Stardom with the Golden Week Fight Tour, so we'll see how that pulls out. But however, I got certain things I got to do afterwards. I got some errands. Let's see how things played out for me. But for now, I will see you guys in the next DWZ time, same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So, goodbye. And have a nice day. Bang.